No matter where I am in Australia or even overseas, there's something about water that inspires my imagination and fires my curiosity. As a young bloke, just the sight of dark, snag-studded pools along a river or the ripple of light across sandy shallows had me itching to make a cast. It was as if these places spoke to me, whispering a seductive challenge to find out what secrets were hidden beneath. That itch is still with me today, and I doubt it'll ever go away. I've seen and experienced many changes in recreational fishing through my angling lifetime, but one of the biggest has been the explosion of interest in fishing with soft plastics here in Australia. At first, these squishy offerings seemed little more than foreign curiosities, and decent stocks were almost impossible to find on the walls of our local tackle shops. But over time, pioneering anglers like Vic McChrystal and others opened our eyes to the potential of these unusual lures through their writing and photography. Eventually, an acceptance and understanding of soft plastics opened a floodgate of fishing possibilities. Not only were these lures relatively affordable, but they could be rigged to fish at any depth and at much slower speeds than was previously possible with bibbed, hard-bodied lures. You could even rig them weedless or snag-proof. It became increasingly obvious that these jelly-like creations were much more than a passing fad. But it was also clear that we needed purpose-designed plastics specifically suited to our Aussie species and conditions. At the end of the 1990s, I teamed up with my good mate and fishing legend K. Bushy Bush to create the first range of soft plastics designed by Australian anglers for Australian anglers. No more hand-me-downs from the American largemouth bass market. After much experimenting, fine-tuning and exhaustive field testing, the Squidgies range of soft plastics was born, just in time for the new millennium. These days, the Squidgies range is extensive and includes our own models of jig head, all built on super sharp hooks with differing wire gauges to suit different applications, from ultralight finesse fishing to white-knuckled heavy tackle brawling with big, powerful fish. As time goes by, we're constantly learning more about Australian fish species and their food preferences, as well as the angling techniques needed to consistently fool them. This learning process drives the development of new squidgies, and one of the latest is the whip bait, a tail that effectively combines all the best aspects of our earlier designs into one incredibly versatile lure. Over the years, three of the most effective squidgy tail patterns have been the shad, the fish and the flick bait. And they've all got their niche and their particular action in the water, but now we've combined all three to come up with a lure that we believe combines the best of those three tails, and that's the squidgy whip bait. This is a really neat little soft plastic. Well, this one's a little one, but we make big ones as well. It's got that narrow body and the knife edge underside of a flick bait. It's got the tail of a shad, and it's got the little belly flaps there of a fish. And it'll handle a lot of speed, very, very fast tail beat and a tight wobble and rotation of the body. But it'll also fish very well going slowly. And best of all, when you pause it and let it drop to the bottom, it stands on its nose on the bottom. Looks for all the world like a little forage fish feeding down there, a whiting or a mullet or whatever. And a lot of takes come during that moment while the lure is actually standing on its nose on the bottom between lifts and drops. I love the versatility of these lures, the fact that you can throw them out there, crank them back as fast as you possibly can if you rig them nice and straight on the jig head, and you'll catch your queenies and kingfish and tailor and salmon and tuna and all those fast moving pelagics. But then you can bounce the lure around on the bottom and catch snapper and various other reef fish, flathead of course, mulloway or jewfish. Just about anything that swims and eats other fish will eat these whip baits. They go particularly well on our weapon head jigs. These are a tough, no-nonsense jig head, unpainted lead head. Nice simple little keeper there, and one of the strongest hooks in the business. You won't straighten those hooks out. And from 9.5 grams and higher in these weapon heads, they come with a little additional stinger anchor point, and you can actually put a stinger hook on there, whether you want to put a treble on there or an assist hook, any sort of stinger you like, for those people who like to have a little bit more in the way of armament in their rigged soft plastic, particularly in low percentage fishing where you might only get 1 or 2 strikes a day. If you're chasing big impoundment barramundi up north, or your mulloway or really big flathead down in southern waters, and you may only get a couple of strikes a day, you want to make sure you're going to pin them, so having that stinger on there is a great idea. The other really nice thing about the whip bait is it's a little bit more robust than some of the other tails. It's similar in its density and construction to the squidgy shad, which always had a reputation for standing up to a bit more wear and tear than the fish or the flick bait. So it's a little bit harder rubber, and it will put up with the toothy critters. I've caught 4 mulloway and 6 flathead in one day on one of these tails without having to change it. That's not too bad for one soft plastic tail. On this particular day, despite the exotic bird life strolling along the nearby beach, I'm actually on a New South Wales south coast estuary, planning to throw a few whip baits around in search of the sort of bread and butter species that the vast majority of Aussie anglers spend the bulk of their time chasing. After checking the water clarity, I've chosen to kick off with a natural looking selection in the form of our time-proven bloodworm colour in the whip bait, rigging it on a relatively light squidgy's weapon head jig, and I'm extra careful to ensure that the tail sits nice and straight on the hook. Great thing about these whip baits is that there's something to represent just about anything that a fish might feed on, from little tiny bait fish and invertebrates like that one through to a big one like that, and there's an even bigger one. That's the 150. There's a 200 mil as well for blue water work, but they all have the great action and the great profile, and they all catch fish. I've used a combination of my depth sounder and polarised sunglasses to identify a slight drop off not too far from the edge of a well-defined weed bed. Now it's time to deploy the bow-mounted electric motor and begin casting up into the shallower water right along the edge of that clearly visible weed bed. I'm only a short distance from a reasonably busy road and on a hard-fished piece of water, but I'm still confident of success. I know how good these lures are. And sure enough, it only takes a couple of casts before I'm hooked up. Got about 2 metres of water here, and sand patches, weed patches, prime flathead country, and just the sort of place to throw a whip bait on a reasonably small jig head. And that's a lovely, easy size flathead, about 42 centimetres. I'll keep that one. Go on to the bloodworm whip bait, because I know there's a lot of prawns around at the moment, and it's a pretty reasonable imitation of a prawn or a worm. It's a nice natural colour. That bloke can become part of dinner. Alright. Gee, he's got some go. Ooh. I don't know what this is. I don't think it's a flathead. It might be a trevally or a brim. It's a cracking fish. It's a trevally. Oh, that's good fun. Oh, light gear, little whip bait, and a beautiful silver trevally. You just never know what you're going to catch next on these soft plastics, particularly something like the whip bait that's imitative of so many different food sources, little bait fish and crustaceans. I'll use the landing net on this bloke because they're quite soft in the mouth, silver trevally. You can think you've got them really well hooked, and and they'll spit it. Or what actually happens is their mouth tears. It's got a fairly fine membrane. Oh, I tell you what, he is full of fight. Beautiful fish. He's only just hooked. In you go. Oh, he does not want to get in that net. I tell you what, he's a cracking fish. He's probably over the kilo mark. Oh, single-handed, it's always fun. There we go. Valley. Get hold of him here in a second. There he is. There it is, the bloodworm whipbait that he took. Black spot here on the back of the gill case that's diagnostic of the silver trevally. Little scoots or modified scales down here on the tail wrist, just like the big GTs up north, nowhere near as sharp though. And like every member of the trevally family, they really know how to pull. Yeah, he'd be a good 900 grams, I reckon. I won't keep him, even though I really like eating them as sashimi or smoking them or pickling them. Off you go, mate. Oh, that was a bit of a bonus when you're chasing flatties. I'm not alone out here. Several other boats are also on the water, all chasing flathead with soft lures. But there's plenty of room for all of us, and I'm opting to stay up in slightly shallower country, working the sand patches along the weed bed edges in 1 to 2 metres of water. This is a very happy hunting ground for all manner of estuarine species. As you hop your squidgies across the sand with a lift-drop-lift action, you just never know what's going to strike next. It's a real lucky dip, which is half the fun. But this time, something different again. I think this is a blackfish. It sure is. Beautiful Luderick or blackfish on a whipbait. There's nothing these things won't catch. Oh, he's a cracker too. They eat prawns and yabbies and shrimps and things, so you do pick them up occasionally on lures. It's not as rare as a lot of people might think. There we go. It's a lovely fish. Pinned fair and square, just by the hair of his chinny chin. It's a fair sized lure to catch a blackfish on too. Beautiful bars. Probably won't get another one of those today. While this weed bed edge is obviously holding quite a few fish, it doesn't hurt to turn around occasionally and fire the odd cast out into the open. It's all about covering water. Yep. Boom. This one feels like a flathead. Oh yeah. Nice table fish. Yeah, he's just another nice solid fish around the 42 mark again, my favourite eating size. Absolutely nothing wrong with keeping 4 or 5 of these. Just have a look at the stomach on this fish. He's absolutely full. There's so much in the way of food in here, bait fish and prawns and worms, all sorts of things. You can see as I was fighting this fish, we've drifted in over the seagrass, the weed beds here, and this is prime habitat for flathead. These patches of sand interspersed with patches of weed, and they just lie on those sand patches and eat all the tucker that comes out of that weed. And he's become my tucker now because I'm going to take 5 of these home. It's my self-imposed bag limit. You're actually allowed to keep 10 in New South Wales. Nearly lost him. Over 36 centimetres in length, but I make sure I keep only 5 between 40 and 50 centimetres. Then we'll have plenty left for the future. Just checked that leader after catching that last flathead, and it's got a few scuffs on it. I'm only running about a 4 or 5 kilo fluorocarbon leader here. Really helps you get the bites, but it does get marked up by flathead, so it pays to just check. And if there are any marks on it at all, retie it. Now I'm using a really small jig head here. It's one of our little Squidgy's weapon head jigs, and it's only about 3 grams or so. Seems very light for flathead fishing, but we're only in 1.8 to 2 meters of water. So I find that if you go as light as possible, you will get a lot more fish. It just gives your lure a better action. And I also attach it with a little loop knot. That's just a uni knot locked in place just 2 or 3 millimeters above the hook eye. Now it'll probably slide down when I catch a fish and tighten up. I don't care about that. I want the loop there so that the lure can swim as freely as possible. And finally, I'm not going to put it in the water without a squirt of S-Factor. That's plenty of S-Factor. Just put a bit on and then rub it in with your fingers, making sure you get full coverage all over the lure. And I don't mind putting a little bit on the jig head and the hook too. You want the whole package. The main thing the S-Factor does, I think, is make them hang on when they grab hold of it. They're not that keen to spit it out because it really tastes like food. Lob one in on the edge of the weed bed here. I'm using the Mako polarized sunglasses to actually see. They become my depth sounder in this depth of water. I can see the drop-offs, I can see the edge of the weed bed, and I'm just trying to land on the sand as close as I possibly can to the weed, and then flick, just makes it dart up off the bottom and drop back down again, stand on its nose. I want it to go up a little bit in the water column so the fish can see it. The flatties are lying on the bottom. If you keep it right on the bottom, it's got to go close to them before they can see it, but if you make it dart up a little bit, they'll see it from 3 and 4 meters away and start swimming over there, and then when it drops back down onto the bottom, they're waiting to intercept it. There's one. That's how it works. Oh, it's almost too deadly. Great way to catch fish. Now that bloke is probably just on my 40 centimetre mark for keeping them, but I'm going to let it go. Try and concentrate on getting those 42, 43 centimetre fish today. My 5 take-home fish. He's a really light coloured one. Come off one of those patches of sand. Come on. Got to watch the spikes, of course. Right, let's see if we can do it again. Yep. Oh. He just pounced on that as I let it drop back to the bottom. Yeah, not a bad fish either. Oh, that's a keeper. Oh, I shouldn't have lifted that. That's a nice fish. That's another one in my keeping slot. Three in there now, 2 to go. To be honest, and at the risk of sounding a tad cocky, it's a pretty rare day when I can't fill my self-imposed bag limit while working squidgies like this, even in the cooler months of the year. This is much more of a credit to the effectiveness of the lures and the modern finesse tackle that I choose to use than any great talent on my part. This stuff isn't rocket science, and if you follow the basic steps I've shown you, there's absolutely no reason why you won't emulate or even exceed my results every time you go fishing. In fact, squidgies, S-Factor and modern balanced finesse tackle combine to create such a deadly efficient system that it's absolutely vital we all practice a little restraint. As I like to say, limit your catch, don't catch your limit. Take only what you need and can immediately use, and carefully release everything else to catch on another day. If we all do this and fish for the future, there's absolutely no reason why my grandkids and their grandkids won't be able to keep right on doing the same thing. And who knows what wondrous squidgies they'll have to use in 20, 30 or 50 years' time. For now though, I'm pretty happy with these whip baits.